Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to another Marks on Wrestling. Your host there, Jeremy, and myself, Donald.
I'm working on getting this thing shared out just a little bit more.
All right, so tonight, while he's doing that, tonight we're doing a review on the latest NXT pay per view, which was last week.
NXT Battleground.
Like I was telling Jeremy before I came on, I was like, I hadn't really been watching NXT that much, so a lot of the names are unfamiliar with me, but this pay per view was actually a really good pay per view. Um,
Yes, it was. It was really good. Very interesting. It was different. So to start off, the event was at the UFC Apex Center in well, it was advertised as Las Vegas, but it's really Enterprise, Nevada, which is its own little suburb
of Las Vegas.
of Las Vegas, which I'm going to be at in 3 weeks. I'm going to be right.
Really?
Yep. I'm actually going to be really close to where they just had this event.
You need to swing by there and see if you can get a tour of the place.
I could if I have time.
Make time. You're that close.
Yeah. Well,
Push the Marks on Wrestling too while you're there.
yeah. Yeah, that'll be something.
So you have to excuse me here. I'm loosening up the knee brace on one of my knees. It's my right knee has been tore up for a couple weeks now, and
I feel the same thing about my left hip. Because I've been exercising the hip lately because I've been doing some bowling this last couple of weeks. Oh boy.
well, I couldn't imagine bowling on my knee right now. It's 3 times the size of its normal size. It's got a lot of
Oh,
fluid built up right now, and I can't slow down because I got just too much going on. So I'm hobbling around a lot.
I can fully relate to you on that.
I think I've torn something in it, but I'm in no position right now to have surgery.
Uh,
So
yeah, that
I
sucks.
just got to deal with it.
Yep. So NXT Battleground. It was at the UFC Apex, which normally can hold up to 1,000 fans. I'm going to be honest. I think it only had about a half of that.
Yeah, it's a small venue, and it said when they were coming on that in Las Vegas, and it's going to be the home to WrestleMania 41. So,
Yep.
I wonder what venue they're going to be in at WrestleMania, because I know it's not going to be that one.
No, this one here is going to be. They had just built the stadium, and in fact, I remember one year, few years ago, driving by there. They were in the process of building this thing because I can remember there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden they had about half of the outside, half of the building built, and now is there. I think it's the Allegiant building, the Allegiant Stadium. I could be wrong on the name. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, the way that they had this center apex, it was different because there was a lot of floor space from what I was able to see from the different camera angles. Like they could have fit in quite a bit, many more fans in there.
Yeah, I didn't get to. Of course, I was watching on a small on my phone. I know that my glare is really bad,
Oh yeah, that's
but Yeah, I didn't really get to see all. I guess a lot of the crowd involved. Uh,
For the
they
small
were,
crowd
they
that
were,
they had, it was a lively crowd.
yeah, they were doing the holy shit and doing the you effed up and all that stuff during the matches.
Yes, they did. Um, and to start the whole thing off, they had a special guest host. Her name was Sexy Red. I'm going to be honest, I had never heard of her at all until she was announced as the host of this event.
Yeah, I didn't know who she was, and to me it was like, I don't know. They could have got somebody better.
Well, she might be one of the hottest things going around these days, but I don't listen to rap.
I don't either.
Yeah, if somebody had come up to me and say, "Hey, what do you think of Sexy Red?" I'd be like,
I, like,
"Who?
I don't know who the hell that is.
No
Yeah,
idea." Um, so she opened up the show and did a little announcement, welcome to Battleground, something like that. And I was very dissatisfied with her because she showed no excitement. There was no excitement in her voice, no no elevation, no nothing. It was like she was there reading off a little cue card. Welcome to NXT Battleground, and that was it.
yeah. And then she did some kind of little dance and twerk mess, and I was like, what the hell is this even?
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
want to see that.
no, I don't either. They could have picked anybody.
And then I read a report that on her way to Las Vegas, she had actually gotten arrested at the New Jersey airport where she was held over for a couple of hours before they finally released her, and then she was able to get a later flight and make it out to Vegas.
What'd she get arrested for?
Like assault or something. Yeah, I know. Um, she got into some kind of confrontation. I'm trying to I'm trying to find it, but she got into some kind of confrontation and she ended up getting arrested for it. um, oh boy, some of these sites they just report anything and everything they can.
Anything to get a click,
Yeah,
clickbait. It's like, yeah, it's really bad.
but yeah, she ended up getting arrested on the way there. And I'm thinking, they could have done so much better. They they could have done some sort of coaching, um, anything. Okay, here we go. Report on
Hey, you could have threw Shawn Michaels in there.
Oh man, I'm going to be honest. I felt bad for him. Um, let's see. As reported on June 11th, oh, as reported on June 11th, Sexy Red was arrested for disorderly conduct ahead of NXT Battleground. She still appeared at the premium live event as she was the host of the show, and she appeared in multiple segments. Um, so she was arrested for disorderly conduct. The report that I had read was some sort of altercation. Um, Still trying to. Here we go. There's the original. Okay, according to TMZ, of all places,
Yeah.
Red, along with several others, were involved in a physical brawl at the respective airport early Saturday morning, which was the day before Battleground. In newly released security footage, Red can be seen grasping a metal stand while a number of individuals fight beneath her. As the altercation shifted from physical to a more verbal one, Red was pulled away toward one of the terminal doors. Minutes later, she stormed back into the crowd. Airport personnel made noticeable efforts to defuse the tensions before police finally arrived to make their formal arrest, one of which was Sexy Red. While the motivation behind this brawl remains unclear, TMZ noted that Red was taken in for disorderly conduct. Some other participants were booked on assault charges. Uh, police released police released Red from custody shortly after, paving the way for her to later make her flight to Las Vegas. In addition to hosting duties, yada yada yada.
She's
Yeah,
lucky she didn't get banned from flying.
Probably, yeah. And the whole her whole presentation of what I've seen of her so far, not only on Battleground, but also what I've seen of her on the NXT actual show on Wednesday. She's not necessarily the kind of person that I would want to have associated with my brand. But that's just me. Now I understand she's probably one of the she's probably one of the hot commodities in today's world, especially in the music thing. But damn, um, she's really my only complaint about the whole show, to be honest. I think they could have done so much better without her being there.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know that much about her. All I remember is seeing her at the beginning. I was trying to get the matches all in so we could do the show, and I kind of skipped through some of the BS stuff.
Well, luckily there wasn't a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Um,
I was looking here. Was trying to figure it out before we come on the show. The whole show was 2 hours and 22 minutes, and somewhere around 50 minutes is your match time.
the longest match on this card was the NXT Women's Title match, 13 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah, so you got just say it. Let's just say an hour. You got an hour worth of matches, and you got an hour worth of commentary and video and promotion, or an hour and 22 minutes of nonsense.
Yeah,
You could have had another match in there, another match or two, when you got a pay per view that long.
two at least.
Yeah,
Um, I watched a pre-show where Megan Moran and Sam Roberts were talking about the event, and there was actually another thing that really bothered me. Um, Normally, I am not a person who will address somebody's use of grammar when they're doing, especially something in entertainment. Um, but they were interviewing Ava before the show, and they asked her a whole bunch of questions, and every single answer she gave, she started out with, I mean, yada, yada, yada. Then they asked her another question. I mean, yada, yada, yada. Another question. I mean, Holy cow! Stop it with the I means. It bugs the shit out of me.
His bad as um.
That's more acceptable.
I
It,
mean, you know,
exactly. It's crazy. I, I have friends who do the I mean thing, but never like that. Never like that. It just drives me up the wall. I even made a comment on Twitter about that when on the WWE Twitter account they were showing a clip of the interview that they had with I mean. I went in there. It's like I really like what Ava's doing and everything, but could she not say I mean so many times in one interview? And I only checked it once. One person did like it. You ass.
I
But it
mean, it
showed,
could be a catchphrase.
but it came up 3 times. Or did you do that on purpose like that?
Oh yeah, no, it just it no, it did that on its own. I don't know why it does it 3 times.
Wow.
Hey, we get more comments. I mean, we get more comments.
Don't you start. No, 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 no. Will you stop? But in all fairness, I like Ava. I like what she's doing. She needs to talk better. That's all I got to say on that one.
She got to work on her promo stuff.
Yes.
Now, with this whole
Is the one of the absolute best promos in the world. So,
who is?
it, the Rock's her father.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's Dwayne Johnson's daughter.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Hmm. So the show starts out with the North American Women's Championship ladder match with Sol Ruka,
Mm-hmm.
Last Legend, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Meechin, and Kaleni Gordon.
Jordan.
Jordan. Yes.
Um, as far as ladder matches go, I mean, it's not um, high caliber as a WWE main event type situation, but I thought it was pretty good match overall. Um,
It was. Uh,
After watching this whole pay per view, and especially like in this one, I can see a couple, actually a few superstars that I think would do really good on the main roster.
Absolutely. I had actually said that I really liked Fallon Henley in the past because I remember her from being in the Iron Survivor match back in December, and she was a part of that, and she really caught my attention on that one.
That move she's got called the Soul Snatcher. Oh my Lord, that is
So
freaking awesome!
it is.
And she did it off the turnbuckle and immediately right after off the ladder.
Yeah, and how that ladder stayed in place while she did that, that was amazing. She is going to go straight to the main roster, I think. And
Um,
and I went through it and checked all of their profiles. She is the youngest one out of all of them. So Ruka is, but all 6 of them honestly are very good. Meechin is really on the main roster. She's just spending some time down there in NXT right now. But all the others are undoubtedly going to be called up to the main roster at some point.
Kalani Jordan, of course, she winds up winning the match to become the
And
women's champion, North American women's champion.
that was kind of a surprise for me.
She
I
had some.
was actually thinking Soruka would win.
She had some dang good moves. She
Yeah.
come off the top turnbuckle with a drop kick, and I was like, man, that looked really good. Um, there's a couple more things she did in there, but you know, that's kind of one of the things that stood out to me. Um,
The the Soul Snatchers were the ones that stood out to me, and also the commentary between Vic and Booker T. A lot of that was reminding me of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, the way that those two were interacting with each other.
yeah, and there was a couple times when Booker was kind of going heelish commentating.
Hmm.
Not much, but just here and there.
Just a touch.
Um, I caught a a thing he said that kind of stuck out to me. I was like, what? It was during one of the matches. It was the triple threat match,
Okay.
and they were talking about uh, Oba. They were fighting. It was an Oba match.
Yeah.
Wesley and Joe Coffey, and he said something about they were commenting about teaming up and against Oba, and he made the comment about I would never done that. I was always a single player guy, and I was like, you were in Harlem Heat. How does that? How are you a single guy when you know?
That is true, but I think he spent more time as a singles wrestler than he did with Harlem Heat. Um, but yeah, listening to Booker T and um, Vic Joseph, I I thoroughly enjoyed that commentary throughout the whole night. I heard flashes of Gorilla and Bobby in what they were doing. I remember there was a couple of times, and I think it was all during that first match when they were all right there with the ladders. Um, Vic was saying something to the effect of, hey, take cover, and Booker T never would. And then Booker would start complaining about something, and Vic would say, hey, I tried to help you, and all of that. They had me busting out laughing a few times throughout the day. Um, but I was fully expecting Soruka to become the champion. Seeing Kaylani Jordan win was a bit of a surprise. Um,
Who
I
was it?
only actually correctly predicted three winners, half of the matches, the winners. Um, I was I guessed the last three correctly. I did not get the first three.
I started doing something a little different on these reviews, putting stars, 1 to 5 on the actual matches. Something I'm gonna try to continue on through our next reviews. Um, with that one, I gave it a 4 star out of 5. I thought it was a really good match. Not the best match of the night. Um, I got my pick on the best match. Not to say that there was a bad match on the card, because they were all good.
Yes.
There was no fillers to me. You know,
In my opinion, I think this match was probably the second best of the night.
I've got it slated about the third best.
They're they're all so close, so
Yeah,
close. I'm really I'm torn between as far as second best this match and the NXT women's match.
really.
Yeah, as far as which one is second and third.
I actually gave the next match the top match of the night for me.
Okay.
The tag title match. The the chemistry and the move set in there was phenomenal.
They, yeah. Well, what's really nice about this match is you got one team of high flyers and the other team where one guy is a technician and the other guy is more of a brawler. So you got the best of all three worlds in this
Hmm.
match. Yeah, it was a very good match. Again, it is so tough to call with all these matches. Um, I thought for sure that Gallows and Anderson would win, so that it would help elevate them a little bit because we have not been seeing them hardly lately on the main roster.
Yeah, they made a comment about that.
Yeah. So
They've
so
been together like 7 years, maybe. Is that what they said?
well, I know they came in short about not even a year, I think, after AJ Styles came in. And then at one point they were released. And then they came back after 2 years, I think. Um, but Luke Gallows had been into WWE before as Festus.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Yeah, Festus. He was like a doofus looking guy like that.
Wasn't like Snitsky.
Right around that same time.
Okay.
Right around that same time, Festus was teamed up with somebody I can't remember who, and that other somebody. Hold on, he teamed with Jesse. Oh, he was just known as Jesse. Uh, Terry Gordy's son.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jesse, his name is Terry Gordy Jr. He came in as a tag team with Festus. So he was the leader of the team while Festus is supposed to be the dim-witted one, and that was Luke Gallows.
Okay.
Uh, I I so enjoy Luke Gallows a lot better than I ever did Festus. Really hard to take that gimmick seriously.
Well, it's kind of like go back in the Attitude Era with Eugene. Eugene was comic relief. I loved watching his character. Thought it was really funny and all.
Mhm.
Of course, back then you could do a little more than you can now.
Yeah.
I don't think that Eugene character would go over too well nowadays.
Probably not. Probably not. And I'm going to be honest because of my daughter being autistic, I may have a hard time accepting Eugene today. And it's not that I'm soft or anything like that. I
Right.
don't.
You got something personal with it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
got something personal about it, but at the same time, I could very well find myself rooting for him because by some extension, it'd be like rooting for my daughter.
Right.
But I'm kind of glad I don't have to make that decision right now. To
Yeah.
be honest, um, but I do get what you're saying. Um,
Back on that ladder match, who was it that they threw off? Was it Jada Parker or was it Lash Legend? They
uh,
picked up somebody and threw her onto the outside
that was Lash.
ladder. And man,
Yeah,
she
that
was
was
she looked
that was
she got
Lash.
pretty hard.
It did look pretty hard. We didn't see it for the rest of the match, but the match didn't last much longer after
Yeah.
that. Um, Either way, that was a hard hit, and that brings another point that Vic brought up because he said that Booker didn't like this either. That the ringside area was a little more tighter than what they were used to. They were closer to the ring than what they were comfortable with.
Right.
But I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the size of the building itself. Um, that being said, they had a lot of empty floor space there. So if they wanted, they probably could have opened it up another foot, maybe even 2 feet on all sides and been okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of floor space, and throughout the night, I had also noticed a few empty seats as well, which is kind of a surprise because we're talking Vegas here.
Yeah.
There should not have been an empty seat at all in that little bitty arena. Um,
I wonder how much the tickets were.
I
They could have had so much else going on. I mean, it is Vegas. There's probably always something going on big there.
oh, there's always something going on there.
So how are you flying over?
I'm driving.
Are you? How far is it?
It if I were to just straight drive through, I could leave here 5 a.m. and drive until about 9 p.m. in Colorado. Stop overnight, leave the next morning, and get into Vegas at about 3 o'clock their time.
Oh goodness,
Yeah,
that's a long drive.
it's longer when I'm going to Reno. It's a full extra day after that. Beyond that,
Good night.
yeah,
The farthest we went, as far as driving, I think is we went to West Virginia. That was like a 22-hour drive. We went to Savannah, Georgia, which is 16, I think.
yeah. In 2020, I went from Long Island, New York, all the way to Lake Tahoe, California.
Good Lord. Is
Yeah,
that a 4-day trip?
it was a 4 day trip.
Man.
But the best part of that whole trip was the first night after leaving Long Island is I stayed here that first night. I got to sleep in my own bed.
I've been as far west as Arizona, Colorado. I've not been into California ever. I've never been to, no, well, went to
It's,
Four Corners.
oh, that's not California.
No, no, it's not California.
California is expensive.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. I was in Carson City, which is just before you get to Lake Tahoe. And Lake Tahoe is, well, going all the way around. You go Nevada to California. I remember filling up my tank at 320 something there in Carson City, which is the state capital of
Mhm.
Nevada. And then I drive over to California, and gas was 430. That big a difference. But Lake Tahoe is also a huge tourist site too.
Right.
So everything is up.
I always like we went towards Colorado a couple times when we was in high school, school trips, and man, it was like Colorado's a beautiful country.
Mhm. I'll tell you what, Lake Tahoe is, and I highly recommend it to anybody. You're gonna spend a pretty penny, but I think it's worth it. And what's really cool was one time a friend and I went to eat at a restaurant on the Nevada side, and the restaurant was right on the beach. You got the restaurant. You go out the side door, and you're right there on the beach, and you can see the mountains clear on the other side of the lake, and it's a big lake. It's I recommend Lake Tahoe to anybody. Just be expecting to spend a lot of money. Um, but back to Battleground. I honestly don't really remember a whole lot from the tag title match. Just that it was action packed, fast paced, and my pick didn't win. I was actually thinking that Gallows and Anderson would win, so that it would help elevate them a little bit because their absenteeism on
Hmm.
SmackDown and Raw. So I was hoping that by coming down to NXT would help build them back up a little bit, like what they did with Baron Corbin.
Yeah. They need more tag division in the main roster.
They do.
Um, and somebody like that, and it's like these two guys. What's his name? Nathan
Nathan
Frazier and Axum. Is that how you
Ax,
pronounce it? I mean, I could
Ax,
see them. I could see them going to the main roster together.
they probably will. The only problem is right now that the main roster is so saturated that they would get up there, and then we're just going to see them maybe once a month, if that. I I'd be afraid that those guys would just get lost in the shuffle like a lot of people do.
So be top contenders in NXT for another year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see either one of those two guys being called up, especially with the draft. I, like you said, next a year or two. I'm going more closer to 2 years.
Hmm.
I could be wrong. Um, but if they are going to move up to the main roster, they have got to have a plan with what they're going to do with them first.
Yeah, I agree. Because you got so many superstars right now that aren't getting play or aren't getting TV time.
Exactly. And being that, like on Monday Night Raw, you're not even getting an hour of wrestling, and they're on for 3 hours.
Hmm.
So they got to do something. Um, Next match was the really different one, the NXT Underground match. Now, we hadn't seen one of these things in a long time.
That's the
Last,
first time I've seen one, and uh, I enjoyed that match just because it was so different. You got a mixture of MMA and wrestling,
yep.
um, and I don't know. I thought it was they were going to be straight MMA stuff until they went off the mat and then started slamming each other and just this and that, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
And I actually thought they did, but I actually thought that the people that were around the ring would get physical like lumberjacks. Um, and then out of nowhere, you just started seeing Shayna beating up on them guys.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was fun. Uh,
Yeah, they were talking about the a couple different holds. You know, you kind of look at the MMA and you look at this and seeing the move set in there, trying to mix and mingle. You know, it's like certain holds in there. He's like, if you knew anything about MMA and that style of fighting is like, you know, that certain hold right there, you're going to tap out. You know, they were commenting on the rear naked choke and all that. They never had a rear naked choke. It was more like a uh, uh, kind of like a sleeper almost. Um,
Speaking of the sleeper, the
in the ladder
sleeper.
match.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that where they had four of them
Hmm.
all lined up with the sleeper.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. That was pretty good too. That to me, that was a callback from what what's the name of that organization? It's out there in California where they do all kinds of these really, really ridiculous things. With but the crowd just love it. And when I see it, it's amazing. I remember one where the wrestlers are grabbing each other's crotches, and it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other, and then that last one does some sort of a spin move, and every one of those guys go tumbling.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So so what they did in that match to me was a callback to what they did in that one because it's always in that same arena. Um, and a lot of those wrestlers are now in WWE. Um, don't ask me the name offhand because I am not going to be able to tell you. But I remember seeing them and thinking, oh, he's there now, or at least in NXT.
Right.
Uh, but I thought that was really, really awesome. And I found out that the sleeper hold that we know is when you hold on to somebody like
Yeah.
this hand is actually supposed to be behind the head and pushing
Pushing
forward.
forward.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's cutting
Uh,
off the blood circulation.
yes. That was I found that out watching Bruce Pritchard's podcast because he was talking about that. And there was a picture that they showed. I forget who it was, and it was showing them doing this sleeper hold. And he mentioned that that is the correct way to do the sleeper hold, not this.
Hmm.
I did not know that.
Well, it's like they kept on saying, she's got her in a rear naked choke, and it's like that rear naked choke where they're sitting there doing this and they're, doing this. I'm like, that's not a rear naked choke. Your rear naked choke is where you come around here. See if I can get it right. I ain't got no head right here. So it's like, yeah, it's like here, and then you wrap back behind the head right here.
Yeah.
So, and you basically just applying pressure on those carotid arteries until they pass out, which ain't
That
just a few
almost
seconds.
sounds like a variation of the $1 million dream.
Yeah, I mean, it's like just a few seconds. You get locked in, a few seconds, you're out.
Mhm. Um, a lot of people underestimated Lola Vice on this. I'm one of them because I really didn't know a whole
That
lot of.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I remember there being a segment during one of the NXT shows, and Lola Vice came out, and somebody came out and said that Lola Vice was like an Instagram star who, yeah, she she was sort of like Logan Paul. She built a following on Instagram, and then she tried her hand at MMA and failed miserably, and now she's in the WWE. because she couldn't cut it there.
Right.
And after seeing this match, I'm thinking, shit, this girl can go. And the ending of that match was a big surprise to me. I had never seen anybody do to Shayna what she did.
Well, I think I don't know what the reasoning was, but I mean, it seemed like they called it too quick. I don't know if it was a time frame thing or what was going on there.
It'd be a surprise if it was a time frame because that was the shortest match of the night.
True.
I,
I don't
I,
know. I don't know. It's just like it. I saw where Shayna supposedly hit her head on the steps outside and kind of passed out, or you know was out for a minute. She threw her back in there and just started pounding her in the back and pounding her in the back of the head and pounding her in the face, and that's when the ref jumped
yeah,
in.
that's the one thing I don't enjoy seeing because you see that in the UFC and MMA, Bellator all the time, where they get in this position, then all of a sudden it's just like that on the side of the head, and I'm thinking, damn, that can do some real brain damage right there.
Yeah, and I think in real MMA, that's why they call the matches fairly quick.
Yeah.
But on that type situation, so it doesn't cause damage. Now, the old UFC, the first several pay-per-views that they had for real, the old UFC
hmm
was there was no rules. You just got in there and you fought.
I I remember back when we used to have a thing called video stores. I would get those original UFC pay per views. It was always UFC one, UFC where Hoist Gracie, and I would get those things, and those matches would be so short, less than 3 minutes, almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, I get why people like this because of the realism and everything, but there's no pizzazz to them, not like what you get in wrestling.
Right. I enjoy the and I don't watch it that often. I enjoy watching the UFC type fights, the MMA type fights, and I really like the whole. You see them now on social media where you got the stare downs, and they're staring down, and one guy's really kind of showboating so much, and they get in the match and they get their ass kicked. It's like, yeah,
I remember seeing one. It was actually in a movie where they were doing a fight like that, but instead of in a cage, they were just surrounded by people, and there was this one guy that was doing all of these flips and everything, and whipping his dreadlocks all over the place. And the second he came up to this guy, boom, and he was down.
yeah. It reminds me of the old Indiana Jones. Was it Raiders of the Lost Ark when the guy was sitting there doing all the with the sword and all that? It's like,
Yep, I know exactly what scene you're talking about. I don't know which movie it came from, but I know
and
exactly.
if I recall right, that was a improv scene.
Uh, I don't know.
I think I read somewhere that was like an improv. It's like,
Brilliant improv. That set the tone for a lot of other things to come too.
yeah, because they did it again in one of the other ones, either Temple of Doom or Last Crusade. He did it, and he went to his gun and didn't have his gun. It's like, oh.
Okay. Um, but yeah, I was surprised to see Shayna not win this one, but at the same time, they do want to put over the younger stars. Shayna's been around a while. Um,
And that's probably why she's down there. You know, she is
there's
main roster
a lot
material.
of them down there. Shayna, Gallows, and Anderson is probably why they're down there. Mission, that's four people right there that have been on the main roster for 5 years, 6 years. So now they're coming back to help elevate them.
You know,
That bringing TNA in.
and you wonder with Shayna, is that, do they look at that as a bad thing? And it may be a personal preference. Like, look, I can go down here to NXT, make probably around the same kind of money, and I can help the new talent, and don't have the much busier schedule that you would be on the main roster.
I don't know. Um, if she were to only be on the NXT shows, they're right there in Florida. So she doesn't really have to travel unless she doesn't live in Florida.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm going to be honest, they haven't exactly showcased Shayna to be what she really is, like how she was when she first moved out. She was an absolute monster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe to date, she is still the only person who has ever eliminated every single participant in the Elimination Chamber match. I think she is the only one who has eliminated all of the other competitors to win.
Yeah, like I said, it may be a personal preference on her. Look, I want to slow down a little bit. I can go down to Florida,
It could be.
you know, that type of thing.
Yeah. It it could be. Um,
Well, I ranked this one, which, I mean, it was still a good match. I ranked this one a 3-star. Out of 5.
let's see. I recently read a rumor about her, but I can't find it. But I'll mention it off air. I don't want to say it on air. But I did hear a rumor about Shayna that I found interesting. But seeing Lola Vice win, that that was a huge push. No matter which way you look at it, she beat Shayna Baszler,
Mm-hmm.
her own game. So that brought a lot of credibility to her, and I think with that, that would make her a prime candidate to be called up for for the next draft.
Which has still got a long way to go.
Unless they decide to do one in the fall. They have done drafts in the fall before. I don't know. I can't recall if they've ever done it twice in 1 year, but I do remember them doing a draft in the fall one time. But we'll see. This next match here, to me, that was the match of the night.
It was. I got a 5-star on that one.
Yeah, to me, that one was match of the night. Um, Obafemi, he is a monster of a wrestler, and in this match, he was catching people midair, left and right, and then just tossing them like they were nothing.
Oh my God, that one where he was on the turnbuckle and he picked that guy up and just threw him.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that was awesome. I was like, oh my
he,
Lord.
this guy is going to main roster very soon. Um,
Oh,
and
him and Braun Breaker would be a good match.
that would be a good match. And Oba has been wrestling for less than 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it shows right here that his debut was November 15th, 2022. So the WWE is his only experience in wrestler. I I looked him up. He was born in Lagos, Nigeria, um, and is a former shot putter.
I can see that.
Yeah, so he's used to throwing weight around. Maybe not necessarily 200, 300
Now,
pounds.
in
Yeah,
this match, he was throwing them some guns left and right.
he was. And Joe Coffey is not a small man by any means.
Mm-mm.
Um, but Oba has a bright future, and he's only 26 years old.
Now, they had a pretty good bit of high flying moves in that match, considering you had a really big powerhouse in there.
Uh,
And then you had somebody come out during mid match and interfere, and then he just started beating the crap out of those guys.
Gal- uh, Gallus?
They were out there for coffee, wasn't they?
Yes. Gallus, I think. Um, I'm trying to. Yeah, Gallus. So that would have been Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. And all three of these guys are Scotland uh, originals, Scotland born. And you know how it is with the folks from Scotland. They have a temper. uh, Watching Oba coming out to his music was quite entertaining. He's got this like this boom 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 boom, and he's coming down like this. That was, I thought that was funny. Um, but no, they are giving him a monstrous push for the short amount of time that he's been wrestling. So I fully expect some big things out of him. Um, Not just in NXT, but on the main roster as well. If I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him an NXT title run. Maybe he could be the guy to beat Trick Williams for it.
Be a good match.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that happening. That'd be a good send off for Trick to move up to the main roster. But I can see the executives wanting to strap the rocket on Ober's and move him straight to the front of the line.
Hmm.
Um, Wesley, he's the first time I saw him was a couple years ago, and he was the North American champion. Um, in fact, I think, let's see, he's only won that title one time, I think. Let me.
It is because they were talking about it during the match about him gaining it again.
Yeah, so it was about 2 years ago when he won the title. I'll never forget this. He won the title. Um, and then he got up on the main stage at the entrance, and he put the title around his waist. The referee raised his arm, and the title slid down to his feet.
That would be funny.
It it was funny. Um, and I thought this kid is going to be something to watch.
Now he has a lot of good move sets,
He does.
um, and he's got that high flyer type atmosphere
Hmm.
to him.
And that was another thing that they did really good with this match, like what they did with the tag match. You got Oma, who is this monster of a man. West is the high flyer. Joe is more brawler than
Hmm.
technical, um, but not brawler like Alma is. Alma, he just mauls you. He doesn't brawl with you. He mauls you.
Yeah,
Um, and that was
it
what I
it
thought.
kind of reminds me of Mark Henry.
Which one?
Uh, God, I can't see Oba.
Alba? Oh no, he's Mark Henry doesn't. oh, Alba would pick him up with ease and slam him. That's
Even
I think.
no, not the Mark Henry with Mae Young. Not that one. The early Mark Henry.
Oh man, I feel bad for Mark Henry, but the thing is, the sexual chocolate, that was his idea. Now I don't know if the Mae Young part was his idea or not, but the whole sexual chocolate was his idea.
I don't even know who's. Somebody should have got fired over that whole hand issue. Birth of the hand. Come on. It's
Well,
like
keep in mind, Vince had to have okayed that.
I was like, my God, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
It was, and then they brought the hand back when they did one of those Raw celebrations.
You're 90 years old and you're pregnant. Come on. That's crazy to begin with in the storyline. But then you're going to give birth to a hand.
It is, but think about the time that they were. Think about that era. This is also the same time when they did that necrophiliac thing with Kane and Triple H.
Katie Vick. Yeah,
Yes, Katie
that
Vick.
was disturbing.
That was, I think, probably the worst thing they had ever done as far as storyline goes.
I would agree.
Um, and this is also the same time where they did this skit with the Big Show and the Big Boss Man, where Big Show's dad died. They were all at the funeral. Boss Man comes out, and
Tasteless.
yeah, there a lot of that, a lot of tasteless things going on at that time.
I agree.
Yeah, and that was when it got to when I stopped watching it. It just got too much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're doing what they're doing now because they're not doing anything stupid. They are doing these story arcs like what they did with X Files. They they did a whole bunch of little stories throughout the season, but there was always that one lingering story that lasted the whole way through.
Hmm.
Same thing with Supernatural. They are doing that with have been doing that with Bloodline for the last 4 years. They've been doing that for the last 2 years with Judgment Day,
And
and seeing that with Damage Control.
that kind of leads me, a thing that popped in my head today about because I was watching, I was looking over review or not review, but yeah, reviewing what's been going on at Raw and SmackDown,
Uh huh.
and of course Judgment Day's got Priest has got his match tomorrow, and Judgment Day is supposed to be able to come to ringside.
No, the Bard.
Are they?
Yeah, because
I thought he wound up winning.
no, Drew ended up winning the match. He beat Finn Balor, which
Okay.
means Judgment Day is barred from ringside.
I bet they'll show up again, show up anyway.
They might.
And I'm going to call this. I'm going to call it that they're going to show up and cost Priest the match and the title. And that's when he's going to turn babyface on Judgment Day.
And that would be a long time coming, too. We have been waiting for a long time. And, honestly, tomorrow would be the perfect time because they're in Scotland. Drew is from Scotland. What
Right.
better place for him to win the title?
Right.
And now he has a little extra incentive because there's a thing going out now. Drew McIntyre's wife just had to have emergency surgery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't say what for.
What for?
Yeah, just that he said that he's the only thing that he's not going to have is his wife out there with him. So she had to have emergency surgery. I don't know the particulars on it.
It could be anything from an appendix to, which any kind of surgery is serious, but
Let's see here. I got the thing up here. While promoting his match at the kickoff, Drew said that his wife was not there as she was currently in emergency surgery. He stated that she told him to bring the title home, and that's exactly what he's going to do on Saturday. So there's no word on what she had done, how serious. Well, it had to be serious if it was emergency surgery.
Right.
But evidently not life-threatening. Otherwise, he probably would
not be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's primed and ready for him to gain the title back.
Yeah.
And keep it longer than 2 or 3 minutes this time.
Well, this would also be a good setup for Drew versus Punk.
This is true.
Yeah, and
then Priest could
match at SummerSlam.
And then Priest could wind up losing the title, and that turns his focus not necessarily on the title, but a feud starting with the Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm. I think he and Finn Balor would have a hell of a match. So Obafemi wins the match after 12 minutes and 3 seconds. I'll tell you what, that match, it felt like it went longer. They
did quite a lot of stuff in that 12 minutes.
Yeah. I'm sure after they were done, they were feeling like, oh man, that feels like we just did a 30-minute match right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to see Oba win. Wes already had his time with the belt. Joe Coffey, I haven't really seen much of anything with him or Gallus.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have an opinion on him, but Oba I have been watching and I'm liking what I'm seeing. He is coming across as a big monster. I just hope that when they bring him up to the main roster, they don't misuse him because that would be the easiest thing in the world. I hope they give him the kind of push that they gave Braun Strowman.
Well, I'll say this on, I've tried to watch NXT before, and it just wasn't that good to me. Tried to watch, a couple
keep
shows.
In mind, NXT technically is developmental territory for them.
Right. After this pay-per-view, watching this, I was like, I actually want to watch the show.
Yeah.
I actually want to watch the weekly show.
These wrestlers have made a very, very strong argument where they can be a third same level brand
Hmm.
as Raw and SmackDown.
And I don't really see a whole lot of miscue timing. Timing wasn't off. When I saw maybe one off the top turnbuckle with somebody landed awkwardly, but it wasn't, crazy noticeable. Um, but like I said, it was a good show, and they had a lot of um, good moments in the pay per view, and not like I said, a lot of miscues. I didn't see stuff where I would see in the regular roster. I've seen that.
I think with the NXT guys, they are probably more a more exciting show to watch because these guys have everything to prove. They have everything to lose. So they are leaving nothing to the imagination, showing, hey,
And
we're
you got to think about this. If they're not traveling, it's always in Florida, right?
the Wednesday night show, yes. For
So
their PLEs, this one here was in Vegas.
so if
Uh,
you're there on a weekly basis, you're at home on a weekly basis. So you got a lot of time to where you're not traveling on the road,
right.
that you can actually work your matches and getting all the kinks out before you go on the show.
Yeah. So the pay per views they are traveling.
Hmm.
Florida, obviously, California, North Carolina, Massachusetts, Texas, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Nevada. Their next one is going to be in Ontario.
So what I'm trying to get at is like you're you don't have the you have the um,
They got more time to rest.
well, they got more time to rest, and in that weekly thing, say you got another pay per view in a month, you got 4 weeks to work on your matches every day before the show.
Hmm.
So you can work and coordinate everything out because you don't have to worry about the travel to live shows here and everywhere across the country. You're right at home.
Yeah, there's something to be said, for these wrestlers to be able to just go home after all that wrestling, all that training. You hearing something?
Something very loud. I don't know if it was in the house or outside.
I didn't hear anything.
I don't hear anybody screaming.
Well, timestamp it 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 50 seconds.
It sounded like somebody dropped something somewhere, maybe in the kitchen or something.
Okay. Okay, so we only got two more matches. The next match here may not have been the best match of the night, but in my opinion was the most important match of the night.
Sorry.
You didn't hear it.
I did hear something. What was it?
I don't know. It was two shots, but it sounded like it was right outside.
That was shots?
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be AFK for a minute.
Okay. Oh boy. So this is a live show. All right, so I'll tell you what. Okay, I know that we don't have any viewers at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself for a moment, and I'll be back.
And I'm sure Jeremy's going to cut this part out for the video post. So if y'all are still watching live, we are talking about the NXT show that was just there. For some reason, I can't remember the dang name of it. It's Battleground. Reviewing Battleground.
What happened?
I was sitting there talking to myself.
I don't know. What was that loud noise?
It was. They thought it was gunshots at first, but after talking to the kids, they were out on the back porch and said it was a car at a stop sign backfiring, which was right outside my wife's window. Right there, and she got shook up a little bit, thinking it was gunfire.
Well, at first I thought maybe fireworks because we're going right into fireworks season.
Yeah. That's what she thought it was at first.
Yeah. But at least
anyway, everything's good.
Nobody's shooting anybody out there.
No. They just had somebody in Hattiesburg, a football player or something, got killed. He got carjacked by three. One guy I think is over 18, and the other two are minors.
What, they're in your area?
No, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is southern Miss.
Oh.
Down at about 2 hours from us, south of Jackson. They carjacked him and killed him.
Oh, haven't mentioned Jackson. I'm actually going to be going through Jackson in March.
Don't go at night.
I'm not. I will be en route to Louisiana, and I'm just going to be driving down through the area.
When is that?
Third week of March.
Oh, that's next year.
Yeah.
Remind me. Keep me informed of that, and we'll meet up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm supposed to be meeting up with Eileen.
She has not said anything to me about that.
Yeah, we talked about this a few months ago after I had set up my bowling thing for that, because we're bowling in Baton Rouge, and I wanted to get as early in the spring as possible, because I know that once it starts getting into April and May, it's going to be muggy as hell down there.
April, not so bad because you still got cold snaps. But you get in May is not that bad. It starts getting warm, but like now, like this weekend, it's going to be 100, 101 heat index. No, it's going to be 101 regular temperature. I'm not sure what the heat index is this weekend.
Well, just regular temperature, that's bad enough.
But you keep me informed on that March thing, and we'll meet up somewhere.
Nice
to meet up.
Absolutely, I will. Let's see. Sunday is supposed to be 93, Monday 97. Well, actually, from Sunday on, it's going to be in the 90s.
Oh, Monday we got a cold snap coming. Either Monday or Tuesday, cold snap of 88.
Okay. I'll definitely keep you up to date on that one. So anyway, back to Battleground. The next match, it was a good match, not the best match of the night, but in my opinion, it was the most important match of the night.
Yeah. Out of all the matches, I would probably, for me anyway, put it at, I don't know, probably the least best match, I guess. I can't say it the worst match, because there was no bad matches on the card.
No, there wasn't.
Went 13:57.
If I had to pick the worst match of the night, even though there were no bad matches, my opinion would be the Underground match. And it's probably because
that's
a typical wrestling match.
I really enjoyed that match. I hope they have more of those. Not every week, not every pay per view.
To do that as the third hour of Raw a few years ago. They did that for a few weeks as the third hour of Raw, um, Raw Underground. And then they stopped doing it.
Well,
Yeah.
you remember that they had. It's been years when you had Ken Shamrock and Blackman.
Yep.
I forgot what they called those.
There was.
It was a
There,
boxing match, basically.
you mean like the free for all?
They had Butterbean in there.
Yes, that Brawl for All. That was
Yeah,
for all.
and it
All right.
wasn't.
Yes, we are talking pro wrestling. We are reviewing the NXT Battleground pay per view that was last week.
Yeah, we're talking pro wrestling. Thanks for tuning in, Rick.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was the Brawl for All. And boy, that this is something that Bruce had actually said was the worst idea they had ever done. It was
Bart Gunn got his ass handed to him.
He did, and that was more or less of a punishment for him because the Brawl for All was supposed to have been a vehicle for Steve Williams to get a big monster push, and Bart Gunn knocked his ass out.
Always like Steve Williams, Doctor Death.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was one of those. He was one of those legit guys, and I think that at the time they were hoping to be able to push him as the next big star, even at his age. But there was also another match that Ken Shamrock did. I want to say with Owen Hart, where he did a Lions Den match, and this was like a. It was like a miniature UFC cage ring, but they had that to where the wrestlers came out at the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where they had their match. I think it was at SummerSlam. SummerSlam '98, maybe. Ken Shamrock. Yep. Lions Den match, SummerSlam '98. Ken Shamrock and Owen Hart. And in Owen Hart's corner was Dan Severn.
Demetrius, I'm sorry, commenting on.
Demetrius, honestly, I never heard of him.
He's a UFC guy, from what I just looked up. Is he into pro wrestling at all? Is he in any organization other than UFC? Which I guess if he's in UFC, he's technically a WWE guy.
He's a tiny guy. 5'3".
Good Lord.
Yeah. 5'3", 135 pounds,
Is it
37.
featherweight?
Let's see. Yeah, he was in bantamweight, and then he went to flyweight, and now he's back to bantamweight.
37 years old.
Yeah.
He's making his move into regular wrestling, man.
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't see anything here.
Okay. So he's over in Japan, possibly over in Japan wrestling, I'm guessing.
He's got a lot of records. Fight of the night, knockout of the night, submission of the night, performance of the night, most consecutive wins, fifth most takedowns landed in UFC history. That's
Really?
big news.
Yeah.
A lot of Fighter of the Year awards, Submission of the Year. Okay, so this guy's big business there in UFC.
So it's one championship wrestling, or
Uh, I see one championship. That's probably the MMA that he's in.
so if he's over in Japan doing his thing over there, it may be another year or so before he pops into AEW or NXT or who knows.
Well, if he were to get into wrestling with his connections to the UFC, WWE would be the way to go.
Yeah.
And from what I have seen in interviews of those who have left AEW, that AEW doesn't really know what they're doing with their wrestlers. But I guess something like that really would be subjective. So anyway, Roxanne Perez and Jordan Grace. Now, I really like Jordan Grace. She made a hell of an impression at the Rumble. And I remember catching my attention years ago before she even started doing bodybuilding. She was just um, a stocky wrestler, I
Hmm.
guess. Um, but she was good. And then all of a sudden she started lifting weights and doing bodybuilding. And by the time that she made it to the Rumble, and I saw her, I'm like, she doesn't look anything like when I saw her back then. So I didn't recognize her at first and thought, well, maybe the person that caught my attention back there was a different name. I just thought that was Jordan Grace. But no, it was the same one. And I thought, holy shit, what a turnaround.
Yeah. Yeah, she looked really good in this show. I see her being a powerhouse. I don't know if she's quite ready to be pulled up, but
Well,
she could
she's
be.
a knockout champion.
She could do. They could do um, Jade and her, but I really see her and Bianca down the line, um,
Yeah.
mixing it up, them turning on each other. But difference between Colgate wrestling and versus Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Uh, with your regular college type wrestling,
That's
it's a big difference between that and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
yeah, because collegiate wrestling
Huge.
is the amateur wrestling, whereas the jujitsu that's karate stuff. That's martial arts.
Yeah.
What is it that you do,
Uh,
Donald?
I do a traditional modernized version of Taekwondo.
Oh,
We do our um, traditional things. I'm a traditional guy, but also understand that it's a modern day world that you have to train differently than they did, 1,000 years ago or whatever. But it's just different world now.
when I was a kid, I did spend a couple years in Taekwondo. Made it to let's see, we I don't know the order of belts that you guys had, but our first three is you got the white belt, the yellow belt, and then the green belt. I made it up to the green before I stopped.
Really? Okay. Did you do ITF or WTF?
I
You have no idea.
no. I
Katawa, your forms Chunji, Dangun, Dosan, Wanyo, Taegooks,
You're speaking,
Palgaze.
you're speaking a foreign language to me right now.
But
I just remember doing the motions and all of that. Honestly, I don't think I was ever any good.
when you're still learning your body and how to use it certain ways and at all the way to green.
I
So
couldn't
you're
break
still
a
in the
board.
beginner levels, huh?
I couldn't break a board.
They ain't hard.
Even even
March in March, you come through March, I'll bring a board and I'll show you how to break it.
I would like to be able to bowl.
Nah, it's safe.
We'll do it after I bowl. How's that?
I promise you. We won't even use your hand.
Hmm?
We'll do an elbow.
I'll think about it.
Breaking is not hard. I can teach anybody how to break a board, and especially adults. I can teach anybody how to break a board, and you
Give
know,
me a sledgehammer, I'll break the
in
board.
10 minutes. It's not hard.
Give me
My
a
my
sledgehammer and I'll break the board.
my favorite breaks are the harder ones. I do relay ground houses, and you have to position that board just right height, and make sure your toes are pulled back just far enough to where you don't break your toes. And
Yeah.
that one in my knife hands. I have one where I have a 4 directional break where I got people set up here and people set up behind me, and I'm sitting there, step and break, turn, step and break, turn, step and break. You get dizzy after a few tries.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that one, and I have a jump front kick that I break with. I have a guy stand on a chair and hold the board way up in the, you stand up in the chair and he's holding the board way up, and I do a jump front kick and break it straight up.
I probably couldn't jump up more than 3 inches.
I don't know if I could even do it now with my knee the way it is.
Oh,
I could do it once.
yeah. I was never any good at Taekwondo. I basically just kind of went through the motions of it.
I enjoyed teaching. Um, I
My
just had class tonight. I had 4 hours worth of classes tonight before I came home, got something to eat, and come on here. That's
my
one reason my knee is hurting really bad, because I cannot sit down and teach. I have to be standing up, moving around, showing this and that.
my dad.
Hapkido. Okay.
These right here, the VHSC tapes that I've got, Donald.
What is that?
The VHSC tapes that I
The
have
small
here.
ones, like the betas.
Yeah, they're this was back in the late '80s when when mom got dad a video camera for Christmas. Yeah,
Videoed everything.
yeah, he videoed everything. Within a month, he was driving her up the wall with it
Oh, I can
because he
imagine.
loved it so much. And these four tapes here specifically are of me doing karate.
Oh, I'd like to see those. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'm going to watch them first and then decide if I'm letting anybody else watch them.
My knees are shot. I know what you're talking about, Rick. My knees are shot from uh, playing football when I was younger, running track, and mostly martial arts, because I've been doing it for 42 years. Um, and I'm a firefighter too, so that doesn't help.
So in other words, Rick, he's trying to tell you without actually telling you he's old.
I am old. I'm 52. I'll be 53 this year. But I feel like I'm in really good shape for somebody my age,
Yeah.
minus the knees. And the knees just started, a couple weeks ago.
Well, people as they get older, the knees are probably one of the most used body parts for
Well,
anybody.
well, with and I know we're getting way off the subject of wrestling and all that, but like
Well,
martial arts stuff, it's
that's
like
what we do.
there's a lot of, and we always do. It's a lot of turning and torquing and different stuff, and I found that as I've gotten older and taught so much more, there's always different ways of doing the stretches to where you're not tearing uh, or
That's
causing stress on certain ligaments and things like that. That
that's why I like the Insanity program. You do the stretches and shows you these different yoga positions to do. They are really, really good. And in fact, um, one of them, the hip flexor.
Now I do a lot of hip flexor
Yeah,
exercises. That man, it loosens your hips way up.
that's what I have been doing the last couple of times I went to go bowling because the first time I went bowling last week, which is the first time in over a year that I bowled, my left hip was just I
And
can't
that,
move.
and there's exercise you can do sitting in a chair that work on your hip flexors.
Well,
Um,
I like doing the old way, just step forward and then just try to push yourself
Push
down.
down. I got
Yeah.
an exercise I'll show you, not on here. Um, but we have a thing called I call on toes. And it's basically I'm sitting with my knees down and my knees are way out here like this. And I'm on the balls of my feet. And I basically teach my kids to sit down and stretch the ligaments and tendons in your feet so that you can get your toes pulled all the way back. Basically they're going that way.
Yeah.
And then we do flats where you stretch an instep out, and
Okay.
we stay in that position right there for a little bit, and then I get them to stretch their knees as far as they can go out, and then walk forward on your elbows, pushing your hip towards the floor, and your knees are way out, almost like this, and your hip is on the floor, pushed down, and you're kind of doing this with your body.
Yeah, that's probably
And
something I'm going to have to see a video of to understand what you're talking about.
actually, Rick, I've had two seminars with Bill. I actually got some autographed pictures with him at our class. We were in part of the Superfoot system for a couple of years. Played golf with Bill. Really cool, down to earth guy. Um, can't say enough because maybe in your maybe different with you, but old school martial arts is like the black belt thing is always you're up on this. They want you to put them masters up on a pedestal. Blah blah blah. I'm totally different thinking on that. It's like I tell my kids when I'm putting their belt on the first time, I'm kneeling down, putting their white belt on them. And I said, when you go to yellow belt, I'll tell you why I'm kneeling in front of you. It has nothing to do with your size. And after they get their first actual official rank, it's like, yeah. But to get his first official rank, I'll explain to him, it's like I'm kneeling in front of you as a subservient um, um, metaphor per se. It's like I'm not here, or it's like you're not here for me in class. I'm here for you. And it's a way of um, putting yourself in a position where you're there to help whatever students you have, and not. I don't need them to boost my ego. In other words, you know, I tell them I'm the same person whether I'm wearing the belt or not. It's
That's how
just
it should,
me, huh?
that's how it should be.
Yeah, yeah. It's not, and for a lot of years, it's always been these big organizations with high-ranking black belts that they're 9, 10 degrees, whatever. There's in our Taekwondo system, 6 is it. 6th degree. Rest of it's all time served crap.
Well, you remember Scott Smith that was with me at the temple there in Salina?
Hmm.
He had the mohawk. He's a black belt.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, you never know by looking at him, but he's a black belt.
Yeah. But as far as Wallace, man, Wallace is, never seeing the guy, never meeting the guy, always heard about him. I met him one time at Battle of Atlanta years ago, and it was kind of that, oh my God, starstruck thing. Him and Joe Lewis was there. Matter of fact, Booker T's wife, Charmel, was there as one of the Nitro girls.
Oh, that long ago.
Yes, it was that long ago.
Wow.
And I think the White Power Ranger was there. I didn't give a shit about the White Power Ranger. But
Who?
anyway, I mean, then I got to meet, and actually work out with Joe. Joe got to work out with Bill Superfoot, and man, it's like meeting him. As a matter of fact, I picked him up from the airport from my instructor. But yeah, he was so dang cool and down to earth, regular guy. He was awesome. He still does. He does. I'll say Zoom workouts a lot on social media at his house in Florida. He lives down in Florida now. But hey, hit me up, Rick, on Facebook. It's Donald R. Martin. Of course, you can hit me there. That's for some reason it logs me in under my class thing. But yeah, it'd be nice to chit chat and talk about martial arts.
Yo, he's on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. He might be on social media.
Type it out in the StreamYard chat. He might get it there.
I'm on. I'm on there. I'm not sure what account because I got my personal account.
No, just do it right here on StreamYard. You can type in the chat. You see where his comments are coming up?
Yeah.
At the very bottom where it says all and post a comment, just type in that one.
Like right there.
Oh, hang on. Okay, so I get it. I gotta go to the LinkedIn site. So anything that I type in this chat does not does not
What were like voice chat? It's voice to chat or voice to text.
actually whatever you're saying is automatically being typed. Oh, he must have the captions on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he must have captions on. That's got to be it. Okay, so where's my video at? I know I'm on, but yeah, obviously I am on LinkedIn, but why?
Okay. Okay. Well, I tried to type in my email address and it said this comment has failed to post to Marks on Wrestling Podcast. If you read this captions, you can email me at kazikicks@gmail.com.
Here we go.
We can link up there somehow or another. But anyway, back to wrestling.
Well, hold on. Give me your. Actually, no. Go ahead. I am going to give Rick your. Let's see here. Cozy Martial Arts.
Yeah, kazikicks@gmail.com. That's my email.
Well, no.
Yeah, that's our shirt. Or reversed. Made it simple.
There we go. At Kashi Martial Arts 9675.
Is that the YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. There's actually two of those out there. One's a ghost hunting gamer one that I was going to use for streaming video games, and I changed it up. I was going to use it for class, and then I was like, no, I don't want that email associated with class. So then I made a completely different one.
Okay,
It's still on YouTube.
Okay, there is another one. Okay, yeah, Ghost Hunting Gamer 178.
Okay. I need to get rid of that one.
Okay, so don't give him that link then.
Not the 178.
The link for the other one.
Yeah, the 975, that should be. And there's only two videos on there. One me doing Chun-Ji and one me showing how to tie belt. I got to get more done, but my knee is messed up. Plus, I'm just now getting into the video editing stuff. So,
yeah. Rick, I got to tell you, you are actually the second person ever to hop onto one of our shows here on the Finch Network. So thank you.
And talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's freaking awesome. We're both paranormal investigators too.
Okay, awesome.
Southern Paranormal Investigations.
You know what? Having said that, I must have Rick as a connection. I must have sent him an invite to things. Let me check here. Rick Warner. View full profile. Yes, we are connected. That's right. ERC, Extraterrestrial Research Center.
Okay. Where are you from, Rick?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay. Wow. That's a long ways up there.
Yeah.
I actually got family up there in Delaware.
You know what, Rick, haven't seen your profile. Honestly, I want to get you on to one of my shows, either Supernatural Talk on Tuesday nights or the 13th Dimension, which is normally on Friday nights, but we're doing this show here instead. To talk about UFOs, because I am a big alien guy. I'm big alien guy. In fact, right now I'm watching Stargate. So if you're on Facebook, I would like to connect with you and get you onto one of my other shows.
And you're a big wrestling fan, you can maybe get on here one time.
Hi, Nikki.
Get you on the show. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a good thing.
Will you stop it?
Hey, Nikki. I mean, I could stop it.
You hurt my ears, Donald. Damn it. Yeah. To know what we're talking about, Rick and Nikki, I kind of went on a tirade at the start of the show where on the pre-show before Battleground, the host were talking to Ava, who is general manager of NXT, and every question that they asked her, the first two words of every answer, I mean, oh man, I hated it. It just drove me crazy. But yeah, Rick, I will get with you. I would love to talk about aliens and all of that. And I think what I'll do, Rick, is get you on 13th Dimension to talk about the alien stuff. and then I will also get you on to Supernatural Talk to talk about your paranormal stuff. Kind of like split it up there. But anyway, we're almost coming up on 2 hours on this show, and we still haven't covered the last two matches here.
Yeah, we got to hurry up because
Yeah,
I'm dying.
yeah,
It's been a
because
long day.
we don't want another car backfiring outside his wife's window.
Yeah, we got to be under 2.5 minutes, 2.5 hours.
That's if we're recording.
Okay,
We're
so
live.
we're good. Okay,
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, if we were recording, then I would be a little okay. Let's hurry it up. No,
yeah, the Roxanne Perez and Jordy.
Jordan Grace.
Um,
Yeah, to me, that was the most important match of the night, and simply because of the whole TNA angle that they're doing here. I am just loving this thing that WWE and TNA have this arrangement going on, which 10 years ago, that would have been impossible. But and then it started out with Mickey James because she came into the Rumble back in 2021 as the then Impact Knockout champion. Just a one-off thing, but because she has such a storied history with the WWE, and then seeing Jordan Grace come in this year, I thought, holy cow, this is great. And then seeing her showcase the way that she was in the Rumble match, they have got to get her in there again. And now here she comes to challenge Roxanne Perez for the NXT title. It's blowing everybody's mind, I think, because WWE and TNA or Impact, whichever one you want to go, they were mortal enemies, like WWE and WCW was.
right.
The only problem is TNA never really got never really got the kind of following that WCW did.
Right.
Yeah, not that it's any fault of their own because they have their own unique thing, but they were more of a ECW kind of setting.
I can see that.
Yeah, where everything was more localized home and not really spreading out very far. And I got to be honest, with some of the things that they had gone through, I'm kind of surprised that they are still in business.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still going, and now they are picking up some of the release stars, like Dolph Ziggler's over there now, and then Dana Brooke, who actually made an appearance in this match.
I can't
Now
do that.
goes by Ash by Elegance. That's the name that she goes by. She actually makes an appearance in this match, which, from what I read, nobody knew about it except for a handful of people. So when Booker T is saying no, Vic first mentioned Dana's name, and then he corrects himself, saying, "No, that's Ash by Elegance. She's here." And Booker T is asking, "What is going on?" And I think that those were legitimate responses. They did not know that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
So now with Jordan Grace making this appearance, she is signed for 3 appearances. The one match that she's already had last week on NXT, and then this match. So there's going to be another match, I think. And now we're seeing Dana Brooke coming back in, kind of dipping the toes in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And now Tatum Paxley the one who came in to grab the title is now going to be challenged Jordan Grace at Against All Odds, the TNA pay-per-view.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah. The general thinking was that it was actually going to be Natalia, but it's going to be Tatum Paxley.
I'm surprised Natalia hasn't retired yet.
No, I think she's still got a few good more years left in her. I don't think she's not that old, is she?
She's older than Edge.
Natalia?
I think so.
No. She's 42.
Yeah, that's old. Not as old as
Well,
I am.
she has had a lot of work done. But yeah, she's only 42 years old, so she's got some more years left in her.
5 max.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, you look at some of them that are still or was still there. You know, I don't even know how old Taker was when he retired, but I mean, he's been around forever.
He was, but by the time Taker retired, he was only doing 2, 3, 4 matches a year.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed watching Jordan and Roxanne going at it. The crowd was clearly behind Jordan for sure. And I think that they were just ecstatic. Hey, we got this TNA wrestler wrestling here on PL, whatever you want to call it.
It's pay-per-view.
This is the first time, I think, aside from the Rumbles, that they had somebody who is signed to another major organization wrestling a singles match.
It reminds me of old school wrestling where you had different champions coming in different territories
Yes.
in wrestling.
Yes, like the old NWA. Ric Flair would go from this territory to that territory.
Right.
Harley Race, Dusty, they all did that. You're right. This is similar to this. All right. Thanks for.
All right. Appreciate you stopping in, man. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be on here too much longer ourselves.
Last match.
Get up early in the morning myself.
Trick Williams versus.
Well, hold on. Before
Okay.
we get into that, there's another thing about Jordan Grace. She had her earrings ripped off.
Out.
Yeah. And she even showed a picture of the stitches that she had in it. And now she's saying that wearing earrings while she's wrestling is retired.
Have a good one, Rick.
Have a good night. And that was something that I have always had a concern about for these wrestlers when they're wrestling with earrings on.
Piercings.
Piercings and even necklaces. Because I remember Jeff Hardy when he would have this necklace with this thing about this big and it'd be pointy down at the bottom. I'm thinking, how in the hell can he wrestle with that thing on? Because I'd be afraid of that thing snapping and then impaling you somewhere. And that explained the amount of blood that was on the ring. Because the blood wasn't there during the match. And then I noticed during the Trick Williams Ethan Page match, hey, there's blood there. Where did that come from? And then I see that post that Jordan had made about the earrings being ripped out of her ears. And yes, it had to. I'm sure it did not feel good. But Roxanne won. I'd say in this case, she was the right one to win, but I think if Jordan had won, that would have been huge news.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been one of the major history in the making moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have liked to have seen Jordan win that, because how many people this day and age can say, aside from the independents, say I am holding the top belt in two major organizations.
Right.
That doesn't happen very often. Um, and that was the longest match of the night, 13 minutes and 57 seconds. So the next match is the main event: Trick Williams versus Ethan Page.
That one went back and forth quite a bit.
It did.
Really close match, far as how it played out. Um, like I said, I haven't watched much NXT to really get into some of the characters and who they are, but thought it was a really good put together match. You had a mixture of a lot of different things. You had outside stuff going on, or not interference, but stuff going on outside on the ringside, and then
Them
the
going
table.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this match is, for Ethan Page, this is his first match ever in WWE anything.
Really.
Yeah. This is his first time ever.
And it could have easily went either way.
It could have. And if Ethan Page had won the NXT title, that would basically be the equivalent, the NXT equivalent of Hulk Hogan winning the WCW title in his first match ever in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them going that way if they wanted to, but I'm not ready for Trick to lose the title yet. I think he will hold on to it a little bit longer, but honestly, I think if anybody, it'll be Oba who will beat him for the title.
That'd be a good match.
Yeah. But otherwise, Ethan Page, the way that he talks and everything, he makes it so easy for you to want to hate him. But I actually like him. The egotistical gimmick that he's doing right now is sort of on the same lines as Austin Theory.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like Austin. I just don't like him. Ethan, I do. What are you thinking?
I'm getting tired.
Okay.
But like I said, I enjoyed the match. I actually put it down as 4-star, right under underneath the Oba and the tag title match. Those were the two best matches to me of the night. But like we said before, it was a good card all the way through.
It really was. It was very solid. No bad matches.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish they could have had a bigger crowd. They had a good crowd. They were lively. I just wish that they would have had more room.
A lot more people.
Yes. That was, to me, that was just one of the downfalls. And then the other major downfall that they really could have done without is not having Sexy Red there to welcome everybody to NXT Battleground.
Watch me twerk.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Not on a wrestling show. We see enough twerking from Kofi. And having said that, I honestly don't remember when he's done that last time. I think he's doing away with that.
Let's hope he has.
Well, he's only been doing it for about 10 years. But Trick Williams, I like him. I like his style. He's got a lot of charisma. Um,
Definitely a crowd favorite.
Definitely a crowd favorite. You can just tell even when he was in the corner of Carmelo Hayes and he wasn't doing the wrestling, you could tell there was something about him. So I am glad that they're capitalizing and pulling the trigger on him.
When he, if and well, not if, but when he loses that title, I don't know. They may push him right on through to the big time.
I think they will. I think they will. But pretty much all NXT champions move up to the main roster. So he will be no different. Let me see. I'm going through all of the NXT champions that they've had. Yeah, every one of them, except for Trick right now, have been moved up to the main roster. And everyone, with the possible exception of Bobby Roode, has had at least one decent run on the main roster. I don't remember them really doing anything with Bobby Roode or Robert Roode, whichever he's
Or he
going.
goes by.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember them doing anything significant with him in the main roster. But I think with Trick, uh, they are not going to really have much of a choice but to do something with him.
I'm trying to look at tomorrow's deal.
Hmm?
Trying to look at tomorrow's deal. Isn't it tomorrow?
Uh, so all in all, Battleground 24, very, very solid pay-per-view from the first match on.
Yeah, and this is one of those where we've had reviews in the past where it's been you don't really know storylines too much to get into the matches. This one, not knowing any storylines really, it was a really good. I enjoyed the pay per view.
The stories behind some of these matches have been less than a month in the making.
Yeah, I mean, but you didn't really to have a good solid match that they did. Not knowing any storylines whatsoever. It was I enjoyed every match that was on here.
Yeah, none of these matches were even put together until about 3 weeks ago. That was when Ethan Page came in. That was when Jordan Grace came in. I think that was when Shayna came down, OC came down, Meechin. Yeah, so all of these matches, nobody would have even thought were going to be put together until in the last 3 weeks.
Right.
And they pulled off a very good event.
I agree.
Yeah. This one here, to me, receives a solid A, easy.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
I agree. I concur.
So the only downfall is the host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have got an A+ if you didn't have her on there.
That's a fair argument. Yeah, that is a fair argument. Um, yeah, honestly, she just did not add anything to this event.
Yeah, did not.
Yeah, but
What's it?
it is what it is. Nothing is ever going to be perfect.
No, no, this is true.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we got WWE main event, Clash at the Castle. Starts at 11 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
It's
That
slated as 5 hours, but we know that's going to pre-show and all that stuff. So you're looking at 3 hours on the show, probably actual wrestling
if
show.
they do a press conference.
Yeah, you got the press conference too. That's going to take another 45 minutes.
If they do one.
I don't see why they wouldn't. They've done them for quite a while now.
They haven't done one since WrestleMania.
They didn't do one on the last pay-per-view, King and
Not that
Queen.
No.
You know, I've still got to watch that Logan Paul and Cody match.
That was a good match.
I've still got to go back and watch that one. That's the one I fell asleep on.
That was a good match because there was one spot there between Logan Paul and Michael Cole. That was hilarious. You have got to see. You have got to see Corey Graves got involved in that one. It was really, it got a little heated. Let's put it that way. Um, yeah, it was. That was a really really good match, and I am hoping, even though yes, Cody Rhodes is the main guy, but I am hoping that because they are in Scotland, that Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre are the ones who closes the show.
Yeah, I would say yes on that.
Yeah, because that.
It
Yeah.
means more to Drew with that, and also it's going to mean more to the fans in
Yes,
that area.
because their hometown hero is closing the show.
Right.
Um, yeah, so then we would come on, and I didn't even realize that Saturday or Sunday was Father's Day. I can't believe it's here already.
Yeah, we're doing a cookout and all that here at the house tomorrow.
Yeah.
So family's coming in and spend the day with my dad and my father-in-law and family and kids and all that stuff. So I don't know if I'll even get to watch the pay-per-view.
Well, I'll be able to watch the pay-per-view. I'm going to be making some enchiladas for Dad for Sunday.
We may be able to do something Tuesday. I'm off Tuesday. I don't have class.
Well, um, are you working next weekend?
I work next Saturday. I don't work next Sunday.
Okay, we can always do the review on Sunday if you're not doing anything.
That works for me.
Yeah, that way we don't have to try to keep our show under 2 hours, even though they technically only have 5 matches. But I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about because these are some pretty big matches they got up on here.
Yeah, I don't see. Excuse me. I don't see any 10-minute matches.
Uh,
I
no,
wouldn't think unless something goes wrong.
I would dare say it. Well, there is the women's tag match, the Bianca Belair and Jade versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Zoe is somebody I'm high on. Versus Alba Fry and Isla Dawn, a triple threat match. if any match only goes 10 minutes or within the 12-minute match, it'll be that one.
I don't think
All the others, I think, will be 15 minutes plus.
I don't think it'll happen right now, but I see them losing those titles and having a riff between them.
Actually, if there's a time for them to lose the title, it would be this, so that neither one of them are the ones that get pinned. That way they can take the title and put it on somebody else, but yet still protect both of them.
Right. I want to see them two wrestle.
Oh, they will at some point.
I'm ready for that. And
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be, well, there's no doubt it'll be better than Uso versus Uso. That was just, that was garbage.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to have chemistry with your brother as a tag team, but trying to fight each other doesn't always work.
Yeah.
The exception was Brett and Owen. They put on one hell of a match. But the match that I'm looking most forward to tomorrow is Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. I think Otis is finally going to turn on Chad.
I agree. And then it's going to lead up to SummerSlam.
Yep.
For them too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, he's teasing it. Otis has been teasing it.
Excuse me.
Okay, let's say goodnight, everybody. So for those that have participated in the show, thank you for playing along. We will be back next Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday. And we will be doing the review for Clash at the Castle, Scotland.
That'll be an awesome show.
It should be, yes. So meanwhile, for everybody out there, happy Father's Day for Sunday.
Happy Father's Day.
And then we will see you all later. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.